Good morning, everyone. Yesterday, as you guys know, since you follow along, I ran into a Neanderthal. Um, and I'm still dealing with the ramifications of that today, but that's okay. Um, Yesterday it was very interesting because there was a music video put out by John Kahn. I forget the name of the record label. It's a very small record label out of Nashville, called The Fighter. And part of what I associate with that video is just that I've always had to be a fighter. From sixth grade, when I collapsed at church, needing my first open heart surgery, I've just had to be a fighter. And I've had really great people around me to help me fight. When you have to fight, you don't want to fight. It's the last thing you want to have to do. And you just hope. You reach in here and you hope that you don't have to fight. But if you have to fight, you have to fight. There's been times just had to fight. It's like, put on the boxing gloves. Okay. It's the last thing I want to do. But you have to fight also relentlessly. Nobody likes to do that. I don't like to do that. I'm hoping that what happened yesterday with the Neanderthal just goes away. Because I know that I've got everything covered. I know it in here. And I'm like, bring it on. And all it is, to be honest with you, is the bank is worried that the crappy auction here in Amherstburg, that an auction company from London took, which they should have never taken. They should have said, oh, that's way outside of our zone. We have no support staff down there whatsoever to be able to do this auction well. We do not want the business. That's what they should have done. Ethically, that's what they should have done. But then they reached out to me and I've been helping them. And I'm just a junior to them. I'm a contractor to their business. So everything that I otherwise created, he was supposed to review. He's the senior. It's all supposed to go through him, all supposed to be approved through him. And I didn't do, by definition, I did not do an appraisal report. All they sent me was a list. Go through, let us know what's there that you can find, and assign some kind of value to it. Okay, perfect, not a problem. So I went through and I did that. Now, the one thing that can come back to haunt me is that when they did their crappy auction, they did not do what every other auction company does. Normally, if there's been a piece of equipment sitting there for a long time, you have either a contractor in or your own person in who tinkers with it, gets it started, drives it around on a video so that people can see who are bidding on it online. Oh, it runs, it lifts, it's old, but it seems like it works. They never did any of that. They just went in and took photos, slammed them up on the internet, and said, hey, here's this front end loader thing. I forget what they're called for this video. And it's got a $6 bid on it. It's a $20,000 piece of equipment. It's got a $6 bid on it. And the bank is a little bit scared. They should be. Not because I've assigned a value to it of $20,000. Those suckers are expensive beasts. I was amazed when I did my research on it. It's like, geez, these things are expensive. But then in my notes, I said unknown, though. Unknown. I knew what the hours were. I could see the hour meter. but unknown what condition it's in, unknown if it starts. As an appraiser, I didn't have to do any of it. I wasn't even doing the appraisal. I was just writing a list. And they're pissed with me for doing my job, for going in and dictating, showing everything. Here, this could be the best thing here in the whole estate. It's the crappiest looking thing. But if we can get it to start and it runs and it lifts and it does all those things, then hey, shit, that has some really good value to it. But the auction company didn't do that. They took the cheap, the easy way out. They sent somebody from London who just walked around taking photos. They might have even used some of my, I haven't even checked, but they might have just used some of my photos in the freaking auction. They would be completely wrong. It would be fundamentally wrong. But I digress. The benefit of the fight is that it gets me internally to look at what I'm doing. And I sit there and say, do I need the $700 that I got for walking around Amherstburg? And yeah, it's kind of nice to have the income. Okay, great. $700 is $700. To go for a walk, not a bad thing. You're using your brain, not a bad thing. There's all kinds of protections in there, not a bad thing. Go do the job, because it has to get done. Somebody needed to do it. Then they were going to use my team on pickup day. But then he starts clubbing me to death, the Neanderthal. I'm like, no. I'm not putting my people into this kind of situation. We're not going to be helping you on October 2nd and 3rd to do the rest of this work, because you're a Neanderthal. If I have to, I'll pay my guys out of my own pocket. Hey, you were going to have 6 hours of work over there, but here's the money. I don't have to do that for my guys. They're okay. There's all kinds of other projects coming up anyway, because that's what I've been doing. I've been building up, and there's lots of great things coming up. So I don't need to worry about the frickin' Neanderthal. But the Neanderthal, it's like, please don't go there. Here's the fishing line. Please don't get on the hook. If you're stupid enough to get your frickin' self on the hook, then sorry about your luck. And it's been a really peaceful place to not have to have conflict with anybody, to not have to be a fighter. But it's okay. I'll put the boxing gloves on again, and I'm relentless. I don't want to. I don't want to have to be that person. I hope I don't have to be. But in business, as in life, every so often there's something it's like, no, that's not right. And the buck has to stop with you. You have to use your voice to get that done. You have to use your ability to write a letter to get that done. You have to write a complaint to get that done. What this Neanderthal did, because I was working with his auction company, I was a contractor with them. I haven't even been paid for the $700 yet. That's a weird thing too. Gee, if you're that successful, why the hell don't I have my check already? Why has it just been direct deposited into my freaking account? Why do I even have to ask for it months later? Help me to understand that. Maybe the check will be there today in the mail. That might be a good thing. Cash the check and just say, it's all over with. See you later. Bye. But it's just a weird thing. And in business, as in everything else, Every so often, you just get tested. I had a commission last year. One of the realtors here in town, one of the most successful realtors here in town. Oh, let's go ahead and screw with Brian and we just won't pay his commission. It's like, no. And I was on the real estate board at the time. I called him up and I said, I don't understand why you're doing this. Please don't. But, Brian, I get the F with you. You hang up the phone and you just go to work. And what everybody forgets, and I think that they forget that about me, is that when they look at me, they think, hey, maybe I can just run right over him and keep the $10,000 commission check. I'm a multimillionaire, so maybe I need that $10,000 commission check, and that way Brian doesn't get it, because then that way he doesn't become a multimillionaire either. They're all trying to stop you in business. That's what business also is, the game of business. How do I stop my competitor from being able to be a really good competitor? It's part of the game theory of business. Now, I can't do that. Just not in me. Yesterday on my Facebook feed, there was one of my competitors that had a guide for first-time home buyers. And I like him. He's a good guy. He works really freaking hard. I believe that he'll be successful in real estate. There's a lot of things that have to happen on his path along the way. They're his path to have to go through. But I can support him. So I shared his advertising on my Facebook page. I also said that, this is really weird that another realtor would take another realtor's advertisement and post it on their Facebook page, but he's a good guy. And relationships in real estate are everything. And just because there's a lot of jerks out there in the business too, doesn't mean that there can't be a good guy to say, hey, let's go ahead and do this for him. But you know what else is fun? and this was the smile last night. Givers gain time and time and time again. Givers gain. Work hard, be kind. The logo on the shirt. Givers gain. So yesterday, I post my competitor's ad on my Facebook link. And then at about 6:30-ish or so, as I'm still dealing with the frickin' Neanderthal, I get a text from one of my clients from a long time ago, or not even a client. A long time ago, they started looking, and I'm not one to put pressure on anybody. She texted me last night. She said, Brian, we're ready. I called her last night, spent about an hour on the phone with her last night. A victory. A first-time home buyer that comes across my phone, my channel, because I post on my Facebook page an advertisement from my competitor about his first-time home buyer's guide. Time and time and time again. God has rewarded me with the concepts of giver's gain. I still live it every single day. The more I give, the more I gain. Don't ever lose track of that in your business. Givers gain. But only give what you can afford to give. So as your business grows and as revenue comes in, especially when you're selling $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 items, the commission checks are just bigger. They just are. It's better than selling a $20 item for a 40% commission. You're just not making as much. That's part of the reason that I moved from selling life insurance policies, which didn't pay very much, to selling houses, which pay really well. It's like I call them raindrops from heaven. I'll have a raindrop from heaven next week. It's all good. But I find that in business, sometimes you just got to fight. And you can take that video that was released yesterday called The Fighter, which has Donald Trump in it. Take that out. Take the video part of it out and just listen to the words and put yourself in there. Your life story can go across there. You could do a whole video about your life story to The Fighter. Because I guarantee you there's things in your life where you've had to fight. Maybe they're medical challenges. Maybe they're personal challenges. Maybe there's immigration to Canada because the president of the United States changes the rules in the United States, like I've had to do. It's like, okay, I'll just have to do what I got to do. I have this wonderful thing called freedom. Having other fellow realtors, we're going to take Brian's commission check away from him and force him to fight. But what everybody doesn't remember about the fight is when I first started as a realtor, I had another commission check that didn't come my way from another very successful realtor here in town. And I went to my broker of record and I said, this isn't right. And my broker of record said, Brian, let it go. You screwed up. I'm like, how did I screw up? Well, you learned your lesson. You didn't get a buyer's rep signed as soon as you signed the seller's agreement. You learned your lesson. I'm like, I'm never going to force people and pressure people anyway. If that's what this business is about, this business isn't going to be the right for me, but I can make it my business. I need you to fight for my commission check. And my broker of record at the time said, no. I was out of there fast. It's like, geez, if I'm paying you all of this money every freaking year out of my production, people calling me, hey, Brian, can you help me? And you won't support me, I'm out. So when that realtor decided to take the commission check away, I just had to fight. But where I was going to with that as well, too, is at Real, because we're a massive public company now, with over a $1.4 billion market cap. Means the company is worth $1.4 billion. If you were to buy it today, that's what it would cost you to buy us. Whereas RE/MAX, it would only cost you $360 million to buy RE/MAX today. Something people don't understand. Oh, we're the balloon. We sell more houses than anybody else ever does. Well, that might be true, but you also lose $3.40 a share per quarter to do it. How long are we going to allow companies who lose $3.40 a share per quarter to stay in business? I don't understand. It seems weird to me. And that's why their market cap is only $340 million. That's why our market cap is so much more. That's why it's important to be profitable. So at the end of the day, because we're such a big company, and because we've had to fight, we were never supposed to survive this battle. Real wasn't. And now we're closing in on 22,000 agents. We're adding about 1,000 agents a month as more and more people say, why am I doing it this way when there's this other way to do it? For me. So what also came down to was after I filed the complaint, then we had a meeting at the real estate board. My broker of record was there to represent my interests. And she's kind of a Neanderthal when you think about it. I'm using Neanderthal quite a bit here. When she came in, she was phenomenal because she's dealt with it all. It's like, yeah, we deal with this in Toronto all the time. Bring on your people down in Windsor. This will be easy. And she just came in and just hit the ball out of the park. And she reminded everybody, if you want to go there, then we have New York lawyers and we have Toronto lawyers. If you want us to have to do that, they're on staff. We will. They're already getting paid to represent Brian. We trust, though, that we won't go there. And then all of a sudden, the broker of record looked at himself and looked at the other broker of record and said, yeah, it's probably not worth the fight. Let's go ahead and get this settled up. Because they were just a little two-bit player. A successful two-bit player, but a small operation. And they didn't want to have to go and spend $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on their own lawyer when we have them on staff. So they're like, yeah, this isn't going to be good. Let's go ahead and get this settled up. What were we thinking, kind of thing. Let's not mess with Brian anymore. And you have to do that from time to time in business. It just is what it is. That's okay. And I don't understand. That's the part that I don't understand. It's all of the other fringe benefits by being with Real, being with a bigger operation, having better control of it for me, having stock, having an ownership stake. I own part of a $1.2 billion company. And every time I sell a house, I get a few more shares, a few more shares, a few more shares, a few more shares. Stock's up 30 cents today. My net wealth went up today. It varies just like Elon Musk's does. And Bill Gates's does. Add Brian Price into there. It's kind of funny when you think about it that way. But it's truthful. So the fight is the fight. Go out, run your business, and be prepared. Have something in reserve. Because you might have to fight. You don't want to. You just might have to. Even here at my townhome complex, one of the challenges when you're a realtor, one of the challenges in the townhome business is, does the association, and townhomes are supposed to sell differently than what we sell them in the city of Windsor for. A lot of realtors could get sued for the way that they sell townhouses because they think of them as regular houses, and they're not. They actually have a Schedule A. Sometimes they have a Schedule B. And one of the challenges is that the realtor is supposed to have a copy of the Schedule A and the Schedule B if they exist, if a Schedule B exists. And anybody making an offer on the townhome needs to have a copy of the Schedule A at the very least, because they need to know what it is that they're buying. They need to know what it is that they're making an offer on. And many realtors do not sell townhouses correctly. I have a townhouse listing coming up next week. I've got a meeting with them on Monday. I'm going to be asking for, I need a copy of the Schedule A. And they'll look at me like, huh? Like, yeah. Legally wise, I need a copy of the Schedule A. I want to do this correctly. Oh, okay. She died, Brian, but there's all of the townhome paperwork is right here, whatever it is that you need here, because we don't know. Okay, great. Oh, here's the Schedule A. Thank you. I'll make copies of this. I'll put it back in the file. Oh, okay, perfect. Schedule A. Very important when you're selling a townhouse. Exceptionally important. If you don't make a Schedule A available, the realtor could get sued. There are errors and omissions because it's an error and an omission. Also, the seller could get sued. Gee, I didn't know that there's a special assessment coming next year to paint the fence. In the Schedule A. Sometimes, not all the time. Learned that in my townhouse community as well, too. We've got a fence that's on city land. Who would have thought? You can't, there's some things that you just don't know that are going on as a realtor. You just don't. Your job is to try to know as much as you possibly can. So, at the end of the day, and that's what a good professional realtor does. So at the end of the day, though, here at my townhome community, we never funded the legal department. So if you had a problem with the townhome, it's like, yeah, it's okay. Go ahead and sue me. You don't have a fund for that. You're going to have to do a special assessment to pay the legal fees, and everybody's going to be mad at you. So go ahead, sue me. That's how some owners here were. But now we've got a fund for that. We raised our rates by a little bit to put some money into a legal fund. And every month there's money going into the legal fund. And every month that we don't. So then there was somebody that decided, I don't want the grass cutting company to do my grass cutting. And her grass got too long, right at the corner. And the resident said, it's getting kind of sad that we're looking at this ugly house. We're not supposed to have ugly houses in our development. Townhome Association, do something, please. Represent us. The other 85 owners. And the Townhome Association, yeah, we hate to fight, but okay, fine, we'll have to go fight. But hey, we do have a legal fund now, so we could always have our lawyer do the letter. Oh, that would be good. We'll pay the lawyer the $70 or $100, whatever they want, to write the letter. Then all of a sudden, a letter by Joe Smith, attorney from the association, comes across to her. And what's the very first thing she does? She cuts the grass. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying any attention to my grass. I will go and have somebody come by and cut it. Because she doesn't want this company that we use, that all the other 85 units use, to cut the grass. Don't know why. Not my business. Seems like it'd be easier. But she wants to make her life complicated, and then she doesn't want to cut the grass. Well, guess what? The lawyer's going to have to write you a letter. And now we've got a fund for that. So with Real, if I need it, it's there, already built in. It's part of the benefits of working for a $1.2 billion market cap company than working for a local, we're the largest independent brokerage in Ontario. Okay, great, but what do you have? You don't have any market cap. You're not even RE/MAX with $345 million market cap. And so all of those agents that are over there have really nothing other than a massive fee to be an agent there. And every day they're waking up and they're looking at it and they're saying, why am I doing this? Why am I paying you $25,000, $30,000 a year out of my cuts for nothing? I go to Real and pay $12,000 a year and have everything. Doesn't make any sense any longer. And that's why more and more agents are coming over to Real too. So to finish up this quick video, sometimes in business, you just have to fight. You just do. You don't want to. It's the last thing I want to do. But if you force me to, I'm sorry. I know how to do it. I've been a fighter my whole life. Ever since I collapsed on the basketball court at church in 6th grade, I've been a fighter. The next year, my dad, at 42, dies of cancer. You got to be a fighter. He owned his own business. You not only have to be a fighter, but you also have to go to work for yourself as well too, to try to be able to bridge the gap as best as you can of losing your dad financially. So I started paper routes and snowblowing companies and all that stuff. And it's always just been built in. Let me go serve some people so that I know that I have dinner on the table. You just have to fight. Okay. Have to fight. And that's why when God gives me other things medically, they are getting a little tougher. Every one of them. This thing going on in my head is a little tougher. Taking me off my game a little bit. And it's tougher. But you got to fight. It's like, okay, God, thank you for putting that on my shoulders. Thank you for giving me 5 blood clots. I'm glad I survived them. Some people don't. I'm glad they're not that bad. That's good. There's just a drug that I have to take for the rest of my life. Okay. I do kind of spurt out if I have to cut myself. So I walk around with a big medical kit. Okay, that way I have something to put over the hole. It's like, okay, yeah, whoops, sorry about that. Yeah, I cut my leg here. I better put a bandage on it because it's starting to drip down the leg. And then it's okay. It's like, yeah, no, it'll stop. Just takes a little bit longer time. It's okay. And you have to just laugh at it. It's part of the fighting. It's like, oh, okay, I'll just put a Band-Aid. That's why Band-Aid company exists. So that's what this video is about too, is just the concepts in business. Sometimes when you're a realtor, when you're a small business owner, it's the last thing you want to do, but sometimes you have to go there. So I'm waiting today to find out if the Neanderthal is going to go further. And it's like, if you go further, I just have to fight. I sent him a note last night. I sent him the video. I said, you don't understand. I don't want to have to fight. I've had to fight my whole life. And I'm in a really good spot where I don't have to fight right now. And I really don't want to choose a fight with you. So please just back off. And so the ball's in the Neanderthal's court. And I know the personality. And I know that he is probably going to fight. The benefit of that is that he's the vice president of the organization where I get my appraisal designation from. I've sent over a note to the president. I've filed the ethics complaint with the president. And I've asked the president, please talk to your co-founder. And please don't go down this path. Because I don't want to have to do it. And he's been cut in on all the email. And he knows. He's like, oh, yeah, I know. I get it, Brian. It's probably happened before. It's just nobody decided to fight against the Neanderthal. Because they carry a pretty big stick or carry a big club. But that's okay. You hope that they don't use their club. But if you use your club, sorry about your luck. Here comes a tree. So that's kind of the story here today. It's kind of fun. Givers gain, all of the right reasons for business to exist, and all of those celebrations of what business is, the success. It is getting easier and easier and easier the longer that you're in this business, if you work hard and be kind. Sometimes the be kind, you have to put a line through that. It's like, I tried to be that kind, but apparently I have to go find some trees. I don't want to have to do that. We'll see how the rest of the day works out today. There's a lot of other things going on. I got to get some paperwork done for a transaction that just is going on right now. That should be done tomorrow. The banker said, yeah, everything seems like it's all online, Brian. All done, Brian, but I just need the full clarification. Get that done. Tomorrow we're going to pick up the camper, so I got to stay focused on making sure all my paperwork flow is ready for tomorrow for that client. I got to go. I got to show houses today. I've got a doctor's appointment at 4:00 to start working on this thing to say, Doc, here's what's going on. Whatever tests we need to go do. If you need me to go all over the United States to get some stuff done, let me know that too. I'm more than happy to go do that. Let's figure out what's going on up here because it's taken me a little bit off my game and people are noticing it. And so there's something going on. Let's try to figure out what that is. Then I've got to go show houses the rest of the night, basically, because I have a buyer. And when you work with buyers, this particular buyer, gee, there's 22. They sent me a list of 22 houses. Like, yeah, we're not going to see them all on a Thursday night. Some of them will have to carry over. Some of them will be sold. We'll work on that as we go through. We'll find you the right house out there. Luckily, in the city of Windsor, we now have the right houses out there as well, too. The thing like, yeah. Oh, yep. So it was just a text that came across. But anyways, I'll get going. There's one more video that I do want to shoot here as well, too, to be able to put out here on the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for making me I'm rapidly becoming the #1 real estate site here in the city of Windsor. I made a few tweaks to my title here on YouTube. I hadn't put in Windsor Real Estate or Windsor Realtor, so people weren't able to search and find me. Now people are searching and finding me, and I'm moving up the ranks at YouTube very, very quickly. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. You understand it. Sometimes you just don't want to fight. Sometimes you just like to walk away. But if they just keep poking you and poking you and poking you and poking you, it's like, sorry about your luck. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.